I think the Nuggets, out of those 5 champions right there, are most likely to repeat for 2 reasons. Number one, I think out of the 5, they're the most well-rounded. And I think they also have the easiest path back to winning a second straight championship. Like you look at right now Denver, they're legitimately running it back. Right? A lot of teams always talk about, let's run it back, and you have 2 or 3 key free agents out there that don't come back, instead chase the money. Denver's legitimately running this team back. All 5 starters they have coming off their finals win are back next season. The only real player of consequence that could leave this season is Bruce Brown. That's it. Who's a really good player. I think a really good role player and important for Denver winning their title, but also was like a 6th man off the bench. If he leaves, can you replace that? Yes. But he's really the only player right now of consequence Denver has to fear about losing. So you are running back right now this team that just won the finals and that has great chemistry. That's part of the reason why they won. Yes, Nikola Jokic is the best player in the NBA. And I would say right now, best duo, especially the best duo that complements each other well, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. And you see Jamal Murray back to kind of playoff Jamal Murray form. He looked really good. But part of the reason why this team is so good and won the finals is they are truly one cohesive unit. Offensively, defensively, there's not a lot of lapses. They have other guys that can contribute as well. They are very well-rounded. And for me, the most well-rounded team of all the champs running it back. But it's not just the fact that they are bringing everyone back for the most part and have a lot of talent. I also like their path where you look at the West, the path back to the finals for Denver is really not that daunting. Like if we go through it here, Memphis, I think clearly today shows you, but even past history of the playoffs, you can't trust Memphis in the postseason whatsoever. They talk the talk, they don't walk the walk. They have good regular seasons. They can win without John Morant. They are not a team, though, come playoff time that you can actually trust to be a legitimate finals contender. So Memphis, not really a threat. Phoenix, they need a big roster overhaul. I like right now the addition of Frank Vogel, but really you have Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and question marks everywhere else. Right? They need a lot of help to build this team around Durant and Booker. You can't just win with 2 stars. Super teams in the NBA don't work anymore. And I think Phoenix, although they're not really a super team, kind of shows you that you just cannot rely on 2 great stars to lead you because KD had a really good postseason, I thought. Booker had a great postseason and still bouncing 6 by Denver in round number 2. So Phoenix has a lot of work to do to build up their roster around Durant and Booker. That could absolutely take some time. Clippers are a team never healthy whatsoever. I'm never going to believe Kawhi Leonard and Paul George will play in the postseason together in a series, let alone for the entirety of the playoffs. I think the Warriors, to me, are breaking up. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Later on, they did hire Mike Dunleavy Jr. today as their new GM. But I think the Warriors' championship window is closed. Over. Done. Steph Curry's getting older, and that rest of the team is too expensive. I think we'll see Draymond Green on the move this offseason. I think we'll see Klay Thompson on the move this offseason. Right now, if you look at Golden State, I think they will undergo here a massive facelift around Steph Curry. And I just don't think that right now they'll be able to make the moves they need to make in order to make this team a legitimate championship contender yet again. Lakers are old, where you kind of look at just what happened. I mean, I thought they played well and they threw Denver their best shot, and they still couldn't even win 1 game. So you're the Nuggets. You're not really that worried about right now with LeBron James getting another year older, Anthony Davis continuing to be inconsistent. I'm not worried about the Lakers whatsoever. Mavericks stink with Kyrie Irving. Zion can't stay healthy for the Pelicans. Dame Lillard has no team around him whatsoever out there in Portland. So look around. If you're Denver, who scares you? No one really scares you whatsoever. The path back to the finals, I think, is pretty easy. So when you look at defending champs and who has the best chance to repeat, I look at 2 things. Team coming back, path back to the championship. I think for me, Denver overall is the best team and the overall best depth of any of the reigning champs. I also think they have the best path back to winning a championship. Like, this is a team that I think could also improve, by the way, and just went 16-4 in the playoffs. dominated their way through the postseason. And you look since 2003, a 20-year sample size in the NBA postseason. Only one team has had a better record than Denver's 16-4 in the playoffs. And that was the 2017 Golden State Warriors, where they went an outstanding 17-1. So in 20 years, one team had a better postseason record than Denver just posted up at 16-4, and that was the 17-1 Golden State Warriors. So they cruised through the West. I think Denver's only primed to, again, with another year under their belt, only get better, and in another year for Jamal Murray removed from his ACL injury, should definitely at least run it back and also improve as well. We should look at the rest of the West. Not a lot of intimidating, I think, threats right now to Denver. So this team is legit. They're going nowhere. When you look around the other defending champs and who has the best chance to repeat, for the Astros, I feel like this is a team that for the first time, they're actually falling off. They've lost a lot of talent over the years. They've lost Carlos Correa. They've lost George Springer. They've lost Garrett Cole. And they just keep on going. This is the first year it feels like now they're starting to really kind of feel the effects of losing talented player after player year after year, where the hitting has really not been very good whatsoever. Injuries have hurt them. And I know it's early, but when you look at right now baseball, it feels like by far the Rays are the team to beat. This feels like the Rays year with how well they have played this season. That is, to me, and I would forecast my pick to win the World Series right now. So this, to me, just does not feel like the Astros year, and it feels like for the first time in a long time, a lot of those star players leaving, sort of starting right now to catch up to the Astros. When you look at the Chiefs in the NFL, yes, they have Patrick Mahomes. I get it. I just think the path for Kansas City is just too difficult. The AFC is loaded. Where you got to go through some sort of 2 or 3 team combo, depending on if they get the bye or not, of the Bengals, the Dolphins, Jaguars. I think Broncos will be improved. Bills are still up there. I think the Browns will also be improved. Ravens, Chargers. I just think you're asking, to me, too much of Kansas City to kind of go through that gauntlet 2 years in a row and win. I know they've been to 5 straight AFC title games. I know they've been to 3 Super Bowls in that time. They have won a lot. Don't get me wrong. But just right now, you look at how deep and how tough the AFC is. I just right now wouldn't put my money and bank on the fact that Kansas City, for the second year in a row, is going to get out of the AFC. For Golden Knights, look, they should run it back. So kind of like Denver, bring almost all their talent back. But the path does scare me. Avalanche are a real legitimate threat in the West. And with hockey, too, the postseason, hockey and baseball are the two, I would argue, most unpredictable playoffs. Where we just saw this past year, the Boston Bruins, historically, in the regular season, the best team in terms of wins and points in league history was up 3-1 in the first round against the Panthers and got eliminated. Everyone was basically throwing any sort of money down on Boston. That it was basically a lock. They were going to win the final. They were going to win the cup with how great they were this season. Couldn't even get out of round number 1. Massive, massive upset. The Avalanche, reigning Stanley Cup champions, bounced in year 1 by the expansion Kraken team, making their first postseason appearance ever. It's unpredictable. It really is very unpredictable. So that's why it has me feeling uneasy where, yes, the Knights will run things back, but just hockey, the postseason is so wild that it just feels like sometimes you run into the wrong team at the wrong time. Doesn't matter how good you are, you have no chance. So I'm not going to pick the Golden Knights to repeat. And Georgia, the Dogs, I'm concerned about their offense going into 2023. I am. I got big-time questions about Carson Beck. Outside of Brock Bowers on offense, I don't feel great about the depth at receiver and running back. And I just think they lost too much in the draft. I know we said that last year. This time last year, going into 2022, the Georgia Bulldogs lost everyone off their defense. No way they'll be able to repeat the defensive dominance they had. And in some stats, they were actually better last year than they were 2 years ago. But now you put so much talent the last 2 years into the draft, even with how well Georgia develops and recruits. I just think for me, they lost too much this year to where I'm going to pick them to go back to back to back. I think this is USC and Lincoln Riley's year with Caleb Williams. They do get it done. I don't see Georgia winning their 3rd straight national title. So when you look at the defending champions right now, Denver in the NBA, the Golden Knights in the NHL, Astros with baseball, Chiefs with football, Georgia in college football, I think the most likely to repeat as champion of their league is the Denver Nuggets.